So just kind of before we get started, Omar and I decided to attend the St. John Catholic Church for this interaction too. The only kind of situation that we had to come over was in his religion. He's allowed to attend church, but he had to leave for the portion of when we get communion, and he was not allowed to stay for that part, but that wasn't kind of a roadblock. We got over that, and he was all right with that. But just wanted to clarify before diving into this interaction. So hey guys, this is Jack here with Omar. For the interaction number 2, I invited him out to the St. John Catholic Church to kind of see my side of the culture. We're attending the 3 o'clock Sunday service, and then we'll dive more into the video a little bit later.
Sounds good.
All right, so for the Global Learning Project for the interaction 2, I invited Omar out to the St. John Catholic Church and Student Center. So my initial thoughts and feelings and concerns before meeting up with Omar to attend the Sunday Mass was, how comfortable he would be, like being inside the chapel. Although in some ways we're both, a mosque is a little bit similar to a church and have the same kind of concept about religion, and you go to pray. I knew that it would kind of still be different from each other in a lot of different ways. How it looks, how the actual sermon is actually ran. And sometimes I was a little bit nervous that Omar wouldn't necessarily enjoy his time, and I was kind of a little bit fearful that he wouldn't get out as much as that I get out when I attend Mass. But other than that, I was just feeling kind of just a little bit worried that he would feel a little bit uncomfortable. So at the St. John Catholic Church, kind of describing Omar's behavior, he was very respectful, like anybody was on Sundays. He was attentive, he was responsive, singing the opening songs, and when the sermon was actually giving his different speeches, he was respectful, he was listening, he was paying attention. Although he didn't really understand kind of the meaning of some of the sermons that were going on, he could relate some of the various concepts, back to his own sort of, in his own like life and reality. So going to church, Omar was optimistic. We kind of talked a little bit about how it's going to go. Sort of like he's trying to keep an open mind throughout it, which he did. And although he was a little bit nervous to begin with, I was a little bit nervous to begin with. He quickly warmed up to the concept of attending church, and he actively participated, like I said. So talking and describing about my feelings and thoughts during this process, at times I would make sure that Omar didn't actually get up and leave yet, but I also made sure that I was feeling comfortable more than anything, that he was okay with what was going on and everything. During the service, everything actually went pretty well, like according to plan. There was no hiccups or bumps. He was attentive, and I thought that was pretty nice of him to actually actively participate. And I thought that this interaction with Omar went pretty well. And he actually, upon leaving, we had a little bit of debrief on kind of what happened and what went through kind of everything. And he thanked me for inviting him out. Afterwards, talking about church and driving him home, he enjoyed the singing aspect of it. He didn't understand really kind of what the sermon was saying in terms of relating to his religion, but he could relate to some of them, some of the meanings to his actual life. But otherwise I thought it went pretty well. So kind of connecting what I learned about this interaction of going to the St. John Catholic Church to class, I kind of learned that Omar was in 2 different stages of the developmental intercultural sensitivity model. I thought that he was in the minimization stage prior, kind of into the first interaction and prior to actually attending church, because he had a general idea about my culture, but did not really understand or know the religious aspect to it and how they kind of related to each other. He thought that it would be similar in a couple different terms of relating, different ideas between the mosque and the church. But after leaving the Mass and the Sunday service, I thought that he was more in the acceptance stage, because he was able to see his religion and their different values and compared to Catholicism, my religious beliefs. Kind of within our debrief after Mass, he was able to recognize the kind of the cultural difference of Catholicism and being believing in Muslim, and kind of be able to take on a different new perspective and see through my eyes. So wrapping things up, overall I thought this interaction provided a lot of insights about culture and education. One of them being someone's ability to use their own education and culture experiences and compare them to the new ones, such as Omar, attending church, and he was able to kind of compare how going to a mosque is like me being Catholic going to church. I sort of realized that people rely kind of heavily on their attributions, and they kind of use them to their advantage when forming new opinions and thoughts on various situations, but I thought this interaction was provided a lot of benefits to myself and Omar, and I thought that getting both of ourselves out of our comfort zones was a great idea, and Omar really enjoyed attending Sunday service.